Manila says 48 Chinese fishing vessels seen in disputed South China Sea, calling it alarming, a potential threat. Amid fresh escalation in the disputed South China Sea, the Philippines on Friday claimed spotting a swarm of Chinese vessels within the exclusive economic zones of the Southeast Asian nation. Armed Forces of Philippines, AFP, called it alarming and a potential threat to Iroquois Reef and Sabina Shoal. As many as 48 Chinese fishing vessels were recently spotted in Iroquois Reef, a statement by the AFP's Western Command said. The AFP based its analysis after conducting air patrols over the region south of the Recto Bank in the West Philippine Sea on August 14th. During multiple flights over Iroquois Reef in the past week, pilots observed an alarming presence of Chinese fishing vessels. The swarming of Chinese fishing vessels there is quite visible from the air, Army Lieutenant Edgar Abogado said. Manila and Beijing have counterclaims in the disputed South China Sea. The AFP said the Chinese fishing vessels were anchored in groups of 5 to 7 but saw no fishing activities. Manila's new claims come after it had accused China of blocking the passage of its two vessels around Ayungin Shoal in the disputed South China Sea on August 14th. But Beijing denied the charge and said the Filipino vessels intruded into the waters off the Rinay Reef without Chinese permission on August 14th. Rinay Reef is part of China's Nansha Islands, said Wang. Ayungin Shoal is known as Rinay Reef in China. Filipino Commodore J. Tariela, a spokesman for the Philippines Coast Guard, PCG, said Friday that Manila's efforts to expose China's aggressive actions in recent months have resulted in some changes in the behavior of the Chinese Coast Guard, CCG, particularly in terms of how they shadow our PCG vessels. Now they, CCG, trail behind them, PCG, because they are concerned about being caught on camera engaged in their aggressive behaviors, he added. In April, China and the Philippines made conflicting claims about an incident involving vessels from the maritime neighbors. The PCG had said, on the morning of April 23, 2023, two Chinese Coast Guard, CCG, vessels intercepted the PCG vessels that were in the vicinity of Ayungin Shoal. However, Beijing claimed Manila's vessels allegedly intruded into its waters. Amid South China Sea tensions, Philippines, U.S., Japan simulate anti-terror action. A simulated international terrorist group carrying weapons of mass destruction was successfully neutralized by the Philippine Coast Guard, PCG, in a trilateral maritime drill with Japan and the U.S. on Tuesday in the West Philippine Sea. The PCG personnel intercepted the mock target vessel, the BRP Melchor Aquino, which was referred to as MV Destroyer throughout the exercise as it approached Philippine territory, according to the Inquirer News website. The scenario involved a firefight between the PCG and the international terrorists. Joining the drill were the U.S. Coast Guard's 3rd Legend-class cutter, USCGC Stratton, and the Japan Coast Guard's Akatsushima vessel. The Trilateral drill is conducted off Marivil's municipality on the western shore of Bataan Province on Luzon Island, which sits at the Philippines' northern end. The drill came after the U.S. and Philippines discussed plans in April to hold combined maritime activities with like-minded partners in the disputed South China Sea. In April this year, the Philippines and China were engaged in a maritime incident. Manila had accused China of aggressive tactics at sea while Beijing claimed Manila's vessels allegedly intruded into its waters. On April 23rd, two Chinese Coast Guard vessels had intercepted the PCG vessels that were in the vicinity of Ionjin Shoal. However, Beijing said it was a premeditated and provocative action for the Philippine vessels to barge into the waters off the Renai Reef with journalists on board. The Philippines won a case in 2016 at a UN-backed arbitration court that invalidated China's expansive claims in the resource-rich South China Sea. China and several other regional countries make overlapping maritime claims in the South China Sea, resulting in conflicting situations. Washington has frequently sailed its warships and flown its fighter jets over the warm waters of the South China Sea under the so-called freedom of navigation, which Beijing has repeatedly denounced as a violation of its territorial integrity. China's assertions are based on its 9-dash line, purple dashes on official Chinese maps that denote Beijing's historical claims in the South China Sea.